So I understand that there is some serious traffic issues coming in from the west. So we're going to wait till, give it a couple more minutes, maybe till 25 till, and then we'll start the meeting. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Make sure we still have the quorum we need to actually convene the meeting. And hopefully, as we go through some of the of our earlier activities here on the agenda, that our members from the West will be able to make it in. And Cheryl, are you on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, we all have Cheryl too. Okay, so I will call the December 10th, 2025 Southeastern Public Service Authority annual meeting to order. The first thing, everybody, if we stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
And I will note that participating electronically is Cheryl Ralston. Cheryl, you there?
Yes.
And Cheryl, would you tell us your location and the reason why you're participating electronically.
My primary residence is now in Rico, Virginia, which is more than 60 miles from the meeting site.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Ralston is the one of the representatives from Franklin, by the way. Public comment. Do we have anybody here for public comment? Do we have anybody who's calling in for public comment?
No one is registered to make a public comment, either in person or electronically.
Okay, so we get to the part of Chairman's comments. I will tell you, at the start of this year, there were two things that I never thought would happen. One is that Virginia would beat Virginia Tech in football and play for the down to the wire for the ACC championship. For all those of you who either went to JMU or have children who went to JMU, myself included, I got a couple, you're welcome. And you get to play Oregon. Virginia's last two games with Oregon, they lost by 20 and 40 points respectively in games that were not as close as the score would have reflected. So good luck to you. I hope JMU has a very good day. But the other thing I never would have expected, and many of you probably heard me say, I would never have expected that we would have gotten all the accomplishments that we got this year with the permits, with the progress at the landfill, and with the advanced waste disposal solution. And certainly that is a big credit to the staff and our executive director, but it's also a credit to this board. Nothing, all of you come from local government, or most of you do, and you know darn well that nothing happens and gets done by the staff if the weight of the governing board is not behind them. And nothing great happens without the weight of the governing board. And this board has been pretty fantastic in supporting our executive director and making these things happen. And I also need to give some credit to our 8-member communities who have overwhelmingly supported our vision and our actions. So it's been a real great year, and we'll hear a little bit more about that as we go through.
May I make a comment?
Yeah, okay, sure, go ahead.
It's unusual, but I thought I'd share with the group this morning. I was honored by the City Council of Portsmouth last night with 50-plus years of service, and thought I'd share that with the board.
And we were going to talk about you in a minute.
Okay.
So, but before I do that, I'd like to turn it over to the executive director to talk about one of our family members that we lost, one of SPSA family members that we've lost. Very important person in our organization. I'm going to let Mr. Bagley take it from here.
As most of you already know, a week ago today, Henry Strickland lost his long battle with cancer and recognized God's promise. It so happened that he passed away right in the same time frame that we were in our executive committee meeting. We got out of the executive committee meeting, and I got a call just about the time we was leaving the executive committee meeting. So I thought that was a nice thing. I wanted to share with you, it was been a rough week for our organization because we truly respected and loved Henry for who he is and what he did for this organization. One of the things I wanted to share with you is a part of his obituary. Said that Henry began his career at Southeastern Public Service Authority at the age of 18, making him one of the youngest employees hired at the time. He filled the position of solid waste assistant or laborer one. When Henry passed away, he was a deputy executive director, so he came to work here at 18 years old at the lowest level position on the tip floor, digging through trash, and he ended his career as deputy executive director. And I think if there's nothing that I could say to you today that would speak any louder about Henry than that. Henry was responsible for so many things, and he and I, he was not only a colleague to me, he was a very, very close personal friend. We had worked together for 22 years, and when you work with somebody 8 hours a day, and then they go home, you end up spending as much time with them as any of their wives or children do. And with Henry and I, it was even more than that, because there was very few nights we'd work till 7 o'clock, and then we'd go home, and I'd call him about 9 o'clock, and we'd stay on the phone until about 11 o'clock talking about something that we were working on. And not one time did Henry ever say to me, "Dennis, go to bed." Sometimes I wish he would have, but he didn't. There was nobody in this world, no breathing human in this world that could make me any madder than Henry Strickland could make me. And my closest staff will tell you, we could go in my office and we could scream and holler and cuss at one another, but when we walked out, we hugged each other and we loved each other. Henry was a very close friend of mine, and I loved him dearly, but he could make me as mad as anybody I knew. Many of the things you see, and the chairman and I were talking about this, you go to the landfill. The landfill was not in that condition when Henry came to work here. I remember the articles in the paper, and some of you were probably on the board at the time. The leachate was backing up in the cells. We were the laughingstock of Hampton Roads. But through Henry's commitment to the landfill and to what he was doing, we're now the gold standard. And that's directly related to the work that he's done out there. I would say to you also that Henry had a very big personality. I mean, a big personality. And he always found a way to humble me. I know when we first started replacing equipment, I was very proud, and I would say, we finally got that bulldozer replaced. And Henry would look at me and says, "Yeah, but we should have replaced it with a D8, not a D6. Because he had a big personality. But oftentimes, that's what we needed, because it drove me. I also knew Henry in a way that a lot of people didn't know him. I could make Henry do things that nobody else could, because all I had to do was say, "Henry, I was going to ask you to do something, but I know you can't do it, so I'm going to, we're going to find another way." That's not so, I can do it. And he would go out and do it. And he was committed to me as much as he was his work. And I can appreciate that so much today, more so than even a week ago. Because I wake up and I think about him, and I miss him all the time, and so does everybody else that works here. His service will be this Saturday at 11 a.m. At the Alive Church, Western Branch Chapel. It's located at 1935 Jolliffe Road in Chesapeake. There will be a crowd of people there. I can guarantee you that. Henry was involved in a lot of different things. He was an avid outdoorsman. He hunted, he fished, he ran hounds all the time, and there are just so many people's lives he touched. And the one thing that he would certainly want to leave with, knowing, is that it's not what you leave this earth with, it's the impact you have on the people that you leave. And Henry's had an impact on every single one of us in this room, and so many more outside of this room. And I think you'll see that on Saturday at his service. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I'd ask if we could have a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody who's ever visited a landfill, you come away impressed, and that includes even the most stringent environmental advocates. And that reflected very, very well on SPSA, and that's all on Henry. Mr. McCoy? Henry
came to work for the city of Portsmouth believe it was in 2002, Dennis. And I was city manager at the time. Henry did not work for me. He was hired by my director of general service at the time. But to give you a little bit background, back in my early career of the city, I owned a 74 Volkswagen Beetle. If anybody remembers the Beetles, one thing about them, they broke down all the time. But Henry's dad was a Volkswagen specialist. I had known the Strickland family for years. Prior to that, Henry's grandfather was the assistant superintendent of City Garage in Chesapeake. His name was Bill Strickland, and he worked for my brother. And so I knew the family long before I knew Henry. But I went to Henry's dad prior to him coming to work for the city. And at that time, I was director of fleet services. And he ran a Volkswagen shop, and I said, Kenny, you need to hang up this small garage you're running here and come work for me. And a few months later, Kenny came to work for me. 3 months after Kenny came to work for me, Henry was born. So I've known Henry since he was born. I didn't have the association, Dennis will share with you, then that I have today. In fact, I didn't know Henry. But Henry spent his entire career in 2 positions, SPSA, City of Portsmouth. And for a young man, starting out sorting, working through the floor on the tip floor, to last and become deputy executive director of this organization, to me is a phenomenon. I tell you, we were blessed to know him. Those that worked with him was blessed to know him. Dennis said, I salute Henry for the commitment that he made to this organization. Godspeed.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. All right, so we're going to move on a little bit here. This happens to be the last meeting for 5 of our board members. According to the state legislation, board members can only serve 2 terms, and these 5 members are reaching the end of their second term. Collectively, they have 56 years of board years experience and contributions to SPSA. They also have some 200 years of experience in a very broad swath of expertise, which you'll hear about, which I'm going to go through very quickly. Instead of reading 5 individual resolutions, we will read 1 resolution recognizing all 5, but then we do have a resolution for each individual member. I'll start off saying a couple things about Cheryl Ralston. Cheryl was 33 years at Union Camp, or International Paper, retiring as the Environmental Health and Safety Manager. Under that, she was responsible for landfilling, the waste hauling, the fluid treatment system, also responsible for all the environmental compliance and permitting, air, water, solid waste, hazardous waste, effluent discharges. Also the health and safety manager, medical department, emergency response, and fire protection. She's a graduate from the University of Wisconsin with a Bachelor of Science in Paper Science and Engineering. She's been vice chairman of the Virginia Manufacturers Association, vice chairman of the Virginia Paper Council, chairman of Virginia's State Air Advisory Board, and president of the Western Tidewater Tennis Association, and varsity girls head coach for Nansemond Suffolk Academy. Cheryl has contributed 8 years to the SPSA board. Next is Mr. Maxwell, John Maxwell. Mr. Maxwell served and retired as the city manager for Chesapeake, and before that, he was the deputy city manager of St. Petersburg, Florida. In his younger days, he held ever-increasing responsible positions and executive positions in Missouri, Iowa, Colorado, and Florida. Traveling man, Mr. Maxwell, and including being director of finance and director of human resources for some of the larger cities in those states. After he retired from the local government, he served several decades as a vice president of the Mercer Group, which is a consulting firm that, as you might expect, advises local government on various issues. John has a bachelor's degree in labor relations and economics from Rockhurst University and a master's of public administration from Iowa State. He was recognized by the International City County Management Association when they awarded him an award for management innovation. And John has contributed 8 years to the board of SPSA. The next is Dr. Dale Ball, sometimes formerly known as Admiral Dale Ball, before he retired from the Navy. Dr. Ball has a Bachelor of Science from the Naval Academy and a Master of Science from the Naval Postgraduate School. He, proving the maxim of lifelong learning, he recently received a PhD in systems engineering from Old Dominion University. His naval career spanned 3 decades in nuclear shipbuilding and maintenance engineering. He was commander of the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton, commander of the Naval Sea Systems Command in Washington, and the director of fleet maintenance for U.S. Fleet Forces here in Norfolk, Virginia. After that illustrious career, he worked in the nuclear shipbuilding industry, director of Navy programs at the Todd Pacific Shipyard in Seattle, vice president of Newport News Nuclear at the Savannah River site, and manager at Newport News Shipbuilding, responsible for developing aircraft carrier and life cycle support programs for nuclear-powered aircraft carriers. He's a member of the executive board of the American Society of Naval Engineers, the USNA Alumni Association, the Navy League of the United States, and Surface Association. And he's also an elder at the Hope PCA and plays bass, showing that actually those who are controlled by the technical side of the brain can cross over. He also plays bass and is a band leader for a band called About Time. Dale has given us 8 years of service to SPSA, including 3 years as chairman. Mr. John Kiefer. As Director of Public Works for Norfolk, John directed 400 employees and had a annual combined operating and capital budget of more than $100 million each year. And that was in 2014 when $100 million is a lot more, say, in today's dollars, probably double that today. His responsibilities were all aspects of infrastructure management, from design, construction, and maintenance, all aspects of solid waste collection. He was also the responsible for traffic management, stormwater management, flooding evaluation, and the program manager for the light rail project. He was acting assistant manager on 2 occasions, led the recovery efforts for many a hurricane and major storm that hits this region. Prior to service with Norfolk, John was a civil engineer corps officer in the Navy, involved in facility construction, maintenance, and environmental programs. John has a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Lehigh University, Master of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Pittsburgh, and he's a licensed professional engineer in Virginia and Washington State. John has served as president of the Virginia-Maryland District of Columbia chapter of the American Public Works Association. John has served SPSA 11 years as on the board, including 4 years as the chairman. And last but not least, our veteran, Mr. Luke McCoy. Luke McCoy has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Frederick College, and he's also a graduate of the Darden School for Executives. In his early days, he was the vice president and sales manager of the Tidy Corp in Lynchburg before moving on to local government service. Mr. McCoy worked for the city of Portsmouth for 30 years and rising through various positions of increased responsibility until finally he was appointed city manager. He retired from Portsmouth as the city manager in 2004, and then, as he indicated, he was awarded last night a 50-year recognition from Portsmouth, and that's because he had 21 years dedication to SPSA. He's been on the Portsmouth Economic Development Authority also, and again, holds the record for most years to SPSA. Luke served as chairman of the trustees for the Portsmouth District of the United Methodist Church and as the property chairman of the New Creations United Methodist Church. Again, Luke has served SPSA for 21 years, including 2 years as vice chairman. I figure Luke is the reason why Mr. Cosgrove decided not this Cosgrove, the other Cosgrove, put the term limits in the in the state legislation.
I plead not guilty to that.
So that's just a little snippet of the 200 years of combined experience that these 5 members have devoted to SPSA. As I said earlier, the staff can't do anything without the support of a great board. We are losing 5 really dedicated, truly competent, truly experienced board members. I know I'm going to greatly miss them, and I think everybody else here will too. So does anybody have any comments before I read the resolution? Would like to say anything? None of the 5 departing would like to have a comment at all?
I'll make a comment if you'll let me.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I'm just very thankful to have the opportunity to be a part of SPSA board. So proud of all the accomplishments we've made. We're going out on a high note at the end of this year with the alternate waste disposal and all the other projects we already talked about. And I've made so many lifelong friends on the board. I think everybody else can say the same thing. So lots of good memories. But I'll leave the board knowing SPSA's in great hands under the leadership of Dennis, Tom, and the whole SPSA leadership team. So going to be enjoying my next phase of life, which is now in Richmond with my kids and babysitting my grandkids. So moving on to the next phase, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you for everything.
Thank you, Cheryl. Mr. McCoy.
I'd just like to thank the board for the comradeship and the fellowship and the ability for each one of us to recognize each individual's limits. Looking back over the last many years, and especially the last 8 years, have been really special. I feel like this board has taken giant steps of bringing, along with our executive director, one of the top-notch sanitation resolution systems in the state, is recognized as such. Served with Dale on the executive committee, and what an eye-opener Dale brought to me. Working with individuals, it's just amazing what 16 people can sit around this table, and very seldom in the many years, at least the last 10 years, we've had such good comradeships. And as Carol pointed out, we have earned and built friendships that's just beyond belief. I've enjoyed every minute of this. And as much as I've been recognized last night by the city of Portsmouth and by Tom just now, believe it or not, I started in the garbage business in 1966, and I managed a garbage company. And when I applied for it, I was a school teacher, and I couldn't make a living. I couldn't pay all of my bills. I signed a contract for $4,000. I brought home $300. And $300, you got paid once a month. $75 went out for rent. 225 had to last me the entire month. But needless to say, I changed directions, and I got in the garbage business, and I went from $4,000 teaching to $12,000 as the general manager of a garbage company. And what I found out that when you were manager of a garbage company on Saturday and Friday night, one of your employees ended up in the slammer, and you ended up either driving the truck or you ended up on the back of the, riding on the back of the truck. And I've seen it all. I've seen the transition of garbage just transformed, that we don't call it garbage anymore. And I could go on, but I'll stop. But I want to compliment an employee that was hired by my city and worked in the city of Portsmouth for 28 years. And he came here. And he is truly, for those that's been here more than the 8 years, or at least the 8 years, we've had good chairmanships. We've had the best. We selected what I feel like is the best. A person that worked for me indirectly for 28 years. We have got the best leadership team. I've seen members come on this board. What is my job in SPSA? I could go around the table and I could yell, and I could, what have you learned? A mountain full of knowledge. When you look back, that's the reason we serve in public service. It's not the recognition that we get. It's the talent that we share with 16 other people and 8 other alternates. Future is bright. And each one of us around this table has played a part in the future. Dennis, I'm going to stop and say, I wish, as they say in the Navy, fair winds. But I'm going to say Godspeed. That you continue to have the help of 16 dedicated, 24 dedicated people that will make this organization even better, brighter tomorrow. God bless you. God bless it.
Thank you, Luke. Mr. Kiefer?
Hey, thanks. I remember when I was in grade school and they asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I told them I want to be on the board of a regional garbage authority. And so this has fulfilled a lifelong objective. It's been a pleasure to be on the board of SPSA. I've been involved with the organization since 1991. I've seen all 5 executive directors. They were all excellent, but none of them can hold a candle to Dennis. He's fantastic. I had the privilege of being the chair of the organization, which was a great honor. Luke was helped me on that and has been a mentor. Cheryl, then Dale did a wonderful job and has become a good friend. John Maxwell, and now Tom is doing a wonderful job, and Richard Broad has kept me straight as to far how the city was thinking. But it has been a privilege. And I wish all of you luck. I know that over the time in SPSA, there were a number of occasions where we thought, okay, we awarded this contract, things are going to go smoothly, but then something happened. So be alert and good luck. Thank you.
All right. So as we, last 8 years, have emerged from the, I guess what we call SPSA 2.0, as we got out of those periods where we had a lot of difficulty, and then to this year where we have had just success after success after success. You 5 retiring board members are major contribution, a major part of that. I was going to read this resolution, Luke. Did you have additional things to say, or has you just got your microphone on? Oh, okay.
I will forgive.
Well, thank you, but I want to keep this focus on the few retiring board members here. So I'm going to read the resolution, and then we'll ask for a motion and a second and a vote on it. So resolution of appreciation to Dale Ball, John Kiefer, John Maxwell, C.W. Luke McCoy, and Cheryl Ralston in recognition of their service as a member of the Board of Directors of the Southeastern Public Service Authority. Whereas Dale Ball, John Kiefer, John Maxwell, C.W. Luke McCoy, and Cheryl Ralston have served on the Board of Directors of the Southeastern Public Service Authority of Virginia, SPSA, as the governor-appointed representatives of Isle of Wight County, the City of Norfolk, the City of Chesapeake, the City of Portsmouth, and the City of Franklin for the following periods of time. Dale Ball, January 24, 2018 through December 10, 2025. John Kiefer, November 28, 2012 through December 18, 2013, and January 24, 2018 through December 10, 2025. John Maxwell, January 24, 2018 through December 10, 2025. C.W. Luke McCoy, April 25, 1995 through June 30, 2004, and August 27, 2014 through December 10, 2025. Cheryl Ralston, January 24, 2018 through December 10, 2025. Whereas their willingness to support the regional solid waste management programs of the authority with their knowledge, expertise, and experience, and expertise has rendered an invaluable service to the citizens of Southeastern Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and to this authority, enhancing the quality of life for all. And whereas, with a feeling of sincere gratitude on this occasion, the Board of Directors of the Southeastern Public Service Authority of Virginia expresses its deepest respect and appreciation for their professional service to the authority and to the citizens it serves. Now therefore be it resolved, with great pride, the Board of Directors of the Southeastern Public Service Authority of Virginia recognizes, thanks, and commends Dale Ball, John Kiefer, John Maxwell, C.W. Luke McCoy, and Cheryl Ralston for their service to the authority, and presents these resolutions as a token of its esteem, and orders a copy be spread upon the minutes of this meeting. Do I have a motion? Mr. Broad is motion, and Mr. Story is second. Is there any discussion? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And Ms. Ralston?
Aye.
Are there any abstentions? Mr. Kiefer is abstaining? You get to vote on your own. Okay. So is that an aye or an abstention? Okay, that's an aye. Any opposed? All right, so I believe that's unanimous. Thank you very much. And again, this has been a banner year for SPSA, and you guys own that as much as anybody. Nothing happens without the support of the board, and it's really been it's been great. Again, thank you for the 56 board years of experience that you have dedicated to SPSA. So moving on a slightly related issue. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, can I have just a second, please?
Yes.
Thank you. I think what I wanted to start with is to say that this board is, I couldn't ask for a better board to work for and under. Our meetings are civil. I have your support in most cases when I deserve your support, and when I don't get it, and I realize that. And I appreciate all 16 of our board members and our 8 alternates do and have done for this board. But there was a time when people left these board meetings in bandages oftentimes. These meetings were not pleasant. There was never agreement on anything. And some of the board members, two of the board members here, remember that. They were on that board, and they were part of bringing this board back together and making us a recognized leader in regional operations. And I would ask that Mr. McCoy and Mr. Kiefer would come forward. We have something for them in addition to the resolution for their long and tenured service. I would say that the number of years that they shows on these plaques that they were going to, these clocks they're going to receive 11 and 21 years don't really represent the total number of years of service that they had, because they worked on the various committees with me when I was just a young buck. I remember them being on committees in SPSA, so they may not have been on the board at that time, but they were active and they came to these meetings and they performed services on various committees to bring SPSA to where it is today. And we have clocks that say on them, Mr. John Kiefer, SPSA Board of Directors for 11 years of service, and Mr. C.W. McCoy for 21 years of service. But I do want to recognize the fact that those are not the actual total years of service when you include the volunteer work they did on these committees. So as you come forward, present you with
All right, so on a slightly related issue, update on the governor-appointed board members. Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Isle of Wight, Portsmouth, and Southampton have submitted nominees to the Assistant Secretary of the Commonwealth. We're still waiting for Chesapeake, Franklin, and Suffolk, and I have heard from all three that they are working on the issue, but it has to do with the logistics of getting your council to approve that and enact a resolution, so I understand what's going on, but I do know that you're all working on it. So really need some those governor appointees, because I need to try to fill the executive committee, and I know that the ex officio members all have full-time jobs with 50, 60-hour weeks, and it makes it very, very hard. Not that you aren't welcome on the executive committee if you're interested, but giving up one whole morning a month for this meeting is pretty significant to those that are working 50, 60-hour weeks, and that includes even a couple of our governor-appointed board members. And to do 2 meetings a month can really be oppressive. So historically, a lot of our executive committee has come from the governor-appointed members, which tend to be, but not always, retired, have a little more time. But I do need, I am soliciting interest of anybody in the board who's interested on serving on the executive committee, and I'm looking forward to our new governor appointees to press them into service as well. So, moving on, we'll approve the minutes. The minutes of the October 22nd, 2025 SPSA Board of Directors regular meeting and the November 3rd, 2025 SPSA Board of Directors special meeting were distributed by email to all of you prior to today's meeting, and they're included in your packet starting on page 5. Are there any changes, additions, subtractions that anybody felt they needed to make to the minutes? All right, not hearing any, I'd entertain a motion to accept those minutes. Have moved by Mr. McCoy, second by Mr. Kiefer. Any additional discussion? If not, we'll take a vote on approving the minutes. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Ralston, we've got you as aye. Any
Yes.
opposed? And did anybody have to abstain? Okay, great. Those are all adopted. Okay, so the next, the board meeting dates for 2026 are on page 49 of your agenda package. As in the past, the board meetings are held on the fourth Wednesday of the month, beginning at 9:30 a.m., except that we usually skip the November meeting, and then the December board meeting is held on the second Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. So is there any comment, any issues with those proposed dates? If there are no changes or comments, I'd ask for a motion and a second to approve those dates. I have a motion by Ms. Lowe to approve. I have a second by Mr. Sori. So any additional discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? No, so the motion's carried. Next item, the 2026 policy on individual participation in SPSA Board of Directors meetings by electronic means is the same as the 2025 policy voted on in October. A copy of the 2026 policy is provided at each board member's seat. We are required to annually update that, annually reapprove that policy under state law. Is there any discussion, any suggested changes to that policy? Some of which are not changeable because they're prescribed by state law, but our council would let us know if there was any attempt to change something that we couldn't. Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the 2026 policy on individual participation in the SPSA Board of Directors meetings by electronic means as presented. And moved by who? By Mr. Saunders. Second by Ms. Lowe. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Ralston, do we have you as an aye?
Aye.
Aye. And any abstentions? All right, so that's covered unanimously. Okay. As fast as we're moving along, things are probably going to slow down just a little bit here now. We're going to go into closed session and to discuss the annual performance review of the executive director. And so the people who would be present for this session are the board members and Mr. Cosgrove, who's substituting as our general counsel today. Are there any concerns as to the participants in those closed sessions? And that would include our ex officios, by the way, and our our ex officio alternates as board members. All right. Not hearing any more discussion on that. I move that a closed session be held for discussion regarding the annual performance review of the executive director in accordance with Virginia Code Section 2.2, 3711A1, relating to the performance of a specific public officer. Do I have a motion? Mr. Broad's moved. Mr. McCoy is second. This will take a roll call vote.
Mr. Maxwell. Yes. Mr. Sori.
Yes.
Ms. Ralston.
Yes.
Mr. Saunders. Yes. Dr. Baugh. Yes. Mr. Robertson. Yes. Mr. Kiefer. Yes. Mr. Broad. Yes. Mr. McCoy. Yes. Mr. Roberts. Yes. Mr. Parnell. Yes. Ms. Lowe. Yes. Mr. Green. Yes. Mr. Benton. Yes. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
All right. Having voted to go into a closed session, I'd ask that everyone excuse themselves. And for the sake of time, does everybody need a break? Looks like, can we move on or do we need a break? If we need tell you what, if you need a break, just take the break while we're in closed session rather than take a 5-minute break now, because that tends to drag out to 10 minutes and trying to move this along. So. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. We're now back in, open session. I'll read the motion to certify the session and then ask for a motion and second to approve it. The Board of the Southeastern Public Service Authority of Virginia hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, A, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and B, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting just concluded. Do I have a motion? A motion moved by Mr. Broad, second by Mr. McCoy. Any discussion? All right, we'll take a roll call vote.
Mr. Maxwell. Yes. Mr. Sorry.
Yes.
Ms. Ralston.
Yes.
Mr. Saunders. Dr. Baugh. Yes. Mr. Robertson. Mr. Kiefer. Yes. Mr. Broad. Yes. Mr. McCoy. Yes. Mr. Roberts. Yes. Mr. Parnell. Yes. Ms. Lowe. Yes. Mr. Green. Yes. Mr. Benton. Yes. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Okay, so we're back in session now, and the board has discussed the performance of the executive director. It shouldn't come as any surprise that SPSA has had a banner year. In fact, maybe one of the two most important years, or 3 years in SPSA's history. The first year being when SPSA was formed, the second one being when SPSA reorganized itself about a decade ago, and then this year when just a number of very important and critical, and in some cases you could almost say existential issues have come together, and all successfully. The evaluations that were submitted by virtually all of the board members were with virtually little exception, if no exception, were just outstanding in his performance. Again, recognizing the massive success we've had in getting the permits for cells 8 and 9, getting the construction of cell 7 and the flyover underway, and the biggest one being the advanced waste disposal solution from the RFP process through the selection, through the contract execution, through the and the use and support agreements which were necessary to be extended, and getting unanimous support from the board and unanimous support from the region on an issue that was potentially quite controversial. So in the words of some of the board members, it's hard to imagine how things could have been any better, and certainly the executive director was, the board feels that the executive director owns most of that success and is definitely responsible for it. I could go on for a long time about the good things that were said about him and how pleased the board is. And one thing in particular that was over and over and over again was how good he communicates with the board, keeps the board involved, keeps the board informed. And so we also got to the point of, we discussed the executive director's salary, a salary survey of the infrastructure directors in the 5 cities on the south side and 2 cities on the north side were done, looking at the salaries of public works and public utilities directors and the salaries of deputy city managers. For those of you who were here when we hired Mr. Bagley, you may recall that there was the position of the board was that his salary should fall somewhere between the infrastructure department directors and those of DCMs, because his organization, in terms of just the size, the budget and number of employees perhaps was close to the type of things that the infrastructure directors manage, but then in the responsibilities that he has in terms of dealing with not just the board, but 8 jurisdictions and the political issues and the legal issues, they rose up to those of a deputy city manager. And so the board felt that the salary should fall somewhere in between those. So again, a salary survey was done in those 7 cities. And the board recommends that his annual base salary be increased to $212,000 per year, excuse me, per year, to reflect just a repositioning of his salary with respect to the comparable counterparts in the region. And then, in addition to that, a $10,000 bonus to compensate or reward him and acknowledge the fantastic year that SPSA's had, that truly is existential for us. That's probably the best word for it. And then also recognizing that while all these other positions that we compared him to have car allowances, and the largest city is about 450 square miles, but his 8 jurisdictions are about 2,500 square miles. They felt, the board felt that the car allowance should be increased from $7,000 a year to $9,000 a year to offset the great number of miles that I personally can attest that he puts on his vehicle for work purposes. So that was certainly a solid consensus in coming out of the closed session that I'm comfortable with. If there's no more, if the board would like to have any discussion of that, I could have a motion. We could entertain a motion to. I tell you what, I'll make the motion. I think I can in this time. I'll make the motion that the executive director's salary be increased to $212,000 per year for the 2026, that he receive a $10,000 bonus for the, in recognition of the great year that SPSA has had this year and all the successes, and that his car allowance be increased from $7,000 per year to $9,000 per year. So moved.
Second.
Well, we got a lot of people arguing for seconds. I think I heard Mr. McCoy first, but you guys want to arm wrestle for that? Okay. Pardon? Can you say jointly seconded? I don't know. Can you do that? So anyway, all right, so we've had a motion and a second, and I'll let the secretary decide. I'll sign the second too. Any discussion? Mr. Kiefer?
Effective January 1st, 2026.
Effective January 1st, 2026. I think I did say for the 2026 calendar year.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I am humbled by your comments and your willingness to compensate me accordingly. But I'm only able to do what I do because of my staff. And my staff only received 1.5% this year, and I would request that the board recognize that in their salary increase and maintain that same 1.5% that my staff received this year.
Mr. Kiefer?
Yeah, we discussed that, Dennis, and we feel that it's up to you within your discretion as executive director to recognize your senior staff as you think is appropriate as part of the annual salary adjustment process, and would understand if they would get something more than perhaps the other employees.
Any more discussion? Richard, can you hold on for 1 minute? We're about to take a vote. What? All in favor? I've had a motion and a second and discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ms. Walston?
Aye from me. Aye.
Aye, okay. Thank you, Richard. All right. Dennis, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
We knew you would push back on us, but sometimes you just have to do what the board tells you to do. All right, so now we're going to move on to executive director updates, and I'll turn it over to our executive director, Dennis Bagley.
I'm going to try to move through. I know that's the time we'll try to move quickly. But today, we wanted to recognize an employee, as we do from time to time. Miss Rebecca Hartley. Can you stand up, Rebecca? She's a scale house supervisor. But in any good and solid organization, there's a community involvement and community support element that needs to be a part of the organization. And whenever I ask for something, or anybody, our executive team comes up with an idea, it's always Rebecca who jumps in and says, I could do that, I could do that. A blood drive is very important to me for a number of personal reasons. And when I said we want to have a blood drive, her and Deborah jumped in, and she's kind of taken this blood drive over. We do it regularly here. You should all receive notices when that's happening. We just had one on Monday for the Christmas holidays. And in the picture on the right, we support the Angel Tree. We're a small organization in the big picture, but we supported 30 children this year. And Rebecca not only goes and gets the stockings and the Angel Tree stuff, she makes sure that everybody does what they say they're going to do. If you get a stocking, she makes sure that you return it. And if there's any stockings on the tree, either she takes them upon herself, or she'll get a group of people who hasn't supported it, that wants to support it. They just give her the money and she goes and shops for them. She makes sure that happens, and that all of our trees, angels, are taken care of each year. She provides popsicles on her own at the scale houses in the summertime for all the drivers that come across. She recognizes the tough work that they do and tries to make it a little bit more comfortable during the summer. And, you know, one of the special things for me is she'll come in at night and there'll be a piece of candy with a note on it on my desk. And I know it came from her. It doesn't say it come from her, but I know where it come from. And it says, thanks for all you do. You make a difference. And sometimes you need that when you walk in the morning. And that's just the kind of employee she is. And that's not part of her job description. She does that because she wants to. And I wanted to recognize her because we just turned in the 30 Angel Tree recipient stuff and the blood drive, and it was just fresh on my mind. So we've got a certificate for the chairman to provide to her. Come on up and we'll get a picture. Give her a round of applause, please. Yeah, the next item on the agenda is strategic operating plan update. At your November 3rd meeting, the board directed me to prepare and present proposed revisions to the standard operating procedures. Those are necessary to permit SPSA to perform the obligations under the WSSA, the Waste Supply and Service Agreement that we've signed with Commonwealth. The revisions included the designation of Commonwealth sortation and/or the facility described in the WSSA as a designated disposal mechanism. And the revisions include a number of minor and non-controversial corrections and additions that were necessary to conform. Also, each of you received a copy of those changes in advance of this meeting. You received a red line version so you could review that in preparation for a vote at today's meeting. Real quickly, I'm going to go through those changes. You've already seen these. So on page, on page 8, we updated the number, paragraph 3 to reflect the recent permit issues issued for cells 8 and 9. On page 9, clarifying phrase added to the sentence at the top of the page. Page 11 and 12, a new numbered paragraph 5A, eliminate 9 to reflect the new portion transfer station and the revisions that conform to paragraph 5A X. Page 12, modifications to paragraph 5B that included the portion transfer station and a list of scale house operations. And on 13, the update to the SPSA's organizational chart that reflect the organization that I presented to you back in October. Page 14 is inclusion of the portion of transfer station delivery points and receiving times. There's typographical correction in 5.1A. Page 21 is an update to 5.1B to accomplish the November 3, 2025 board directive to designate Commonwealth sortation as the designated disposal mechanism. And page 22, there was a revision to the second paragraph to reflect the permits for cells 8 and 9 that have already been issued. And then page 30 and 31, revisions to the paragraph titled recyclable waste to reflect clarifying language that was in the use and support agreements that have been adopted by all 8 member communities. So most of these changes were necessary just to clean up the document. The main changes were in the designation of the new disposal mechanism. I don't think any of them were controversial. You've all heard what was going to have to happen. This is just a follow-up so the public knows the changes that are being made in the standard strategic operating plan. And staff recommends the adoption of a motion authorizing the revision of the strategic operating plan as presented. Mr. Chairman.
Pardon? All right, so at this point, we would need a motion and a second to adopt the changes to the strategic operating plan, or should I read the motion first? Read the resolution first. Okay. So I'll read the resolution, and then we'll consider a motion and a second. I hope my voice holds out here. A resolution approving revisions to the Strategic Operating Plan, December 10, 2025. Whereas the Southeastern Public Service Authority of Virginia, SPSA, is a party to identical use and support agreements, in parentheses, the post-2018 use and support agreements, close parentheses, with each of the member communities, the SPSA members. Whereas the post-2018 use and support agreements, 1, include a strategic operating plan to be attached thereto as Schedule 1 and incorporated therein by reference, and 2, require that the SPSA Board of Directors, the board, review the strategic operating plan on at least an annual basis in connection with the board's review and consideration of the annual operating budget of SPSA and at such other times as the board may deem necessary or appropriate. Whereas, pursuant to the post-2018 use and support agreements, if deemed necessary or appropriate after review, the strategic operating plan may be updated or modified by a resolution approved by at least 75% of the board, and any such updated and/or modified strategic operating plan shall be appended to the post-2018 use and support agreements as the new Schedule 1 thereto in replacement of all prior strategic operating plans. Whereas, in conjunction with the recent execution of the Waste Supply and Services Agreement with Commonwealth Sortation, LLC, and amendments to the post-2018 use and support agreements, SPSA executive staff, with the assistance and advice of legal counsel, has reviewed the strategic operating plan and has recommended to the board that certain updates and modifications be made to the strategic operating plan. And whereas the board, after review and consideration, has deemed it necessary and appropriate to make the recommended changes to the strategic operating plan. Now, therefore be it resolved by the SPSA Board of Directors as follows. 1, the strategic operating plan shall be updated and modified as shown on the strategic operating plan attached to this resolution. The updated and modified strategic operating plan shall replace the version of the strategic operating plan approved by the board on May 28, 2025, and the updated and modified strategic operating plan shall be deemed to be appended as Schedule 1 to the post-2018 use and support agreements and duly incorporated therein. 2, the board hereby authorizes and directs the executive director of SPSA in the name and on behalf of SPSA to do all such acts and prepare, execute, file, and deliver all such other documents, each in the name and on behalf of SPSA, and that they may deem necessary or desirable to carry out the intent and purposes of the foregoing resolution. I have a motion by Mr. Kiefer and a second by Mr. McCoy. Any more discussion? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say. Pardon?
Roll call.
Oh, a roll call vote.
Mr. Maxwell. Mr. Story.
Yes.
Ms. Ralston.
Yes.
Dr. Baugh.
Yes.
Mr. Robertson.
Yes.
Mr. Kiefer.
Yes.
Mr. Person.
Yes.
Mr. McCoy.
Yes.
Mr. Roberts. Mr. Parnell.
Yes.
Ms. Lowe. Mr. Green. Mr. Benton. Mr. Leahy.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Okay. That was the actual final thing on this AWD process. That was the final condition, actually, of the 4 conditions that were set out by the board that had to be, and were in the use and support agreement extensions, had 4 criteria that had to be satisfied. That was the 4th criteria finally satisfied. It is now all very real. And in case you wondered, a lot of your goals for 2026 involve the AWD process.
Implementation is going to be the easy part after that. All right, thank you. All right, so the next quick update is an update on a leachate evaporator. Staff toured the site with HRSD, and they've approved the evaporator installation. SCS is finalizing some of the QA documentation that's required to send off with the invoice, and Sandy will be invoicing HRSD if she hasn't already done it this week. So they will be paying us $4 million. And then, as you all know, Jace Morris was hired back as a landfill engineering technician, and one of his main responsibilities was to handle this leachate evaporator, understand how it operates, get it up and running. He's been doing that for some time now, and I'll tell you, Jace came to work with us from the gas plant. He worked for Tariva. I don't know if it was really Tariva when he was there, but I think it was actually the previous company. But Henry noticed something about him, and he said, "This is somebody we need to hire." And when this position came open, he moved from the gas plant over to us. He's been a very helpful addition to the landfill staff. He manages the leachate. He manages the gas plant issues. He's a big help to Mike out at the landfill, and he's going to give you a quick presentation on the numbers and what that looks like, because one of the things, what we used to have to give you updates on how much leachate we brought, how much we pumped, how much we hauled. I think after this, we'll just include this in the monthly report that comes to you in your board packet, and you won't have to hear this anymore. But I think it's interesting to know how much changes there are and what this leachate evaporator is actually doing for SPSA. So, Jace, if you'll come to the podium. Is there a clicker back there? Okay.
All right, good morning, everybody. Threw together a little presentation about the concentrator. This is just a quick overview of how it works. I went through and labeled everything. Real simple. Leachate comes in from the top, gets sprayed down on our chevrons through the bottom, the concentrator. That leachate gets recycled back up to the top, gets mixed with hot gas, pushed through the concentrator. I added the blue, green squares there. Those are called chevrons. Those are kind of a big factor in this. Pretty much big filters. So all the particulates and leachate drop to the bottom while that clean water from the leachate is going through out the process stack, and all those particulates will collect at the bottom and go to a thickener tank. I'm not going to bore you all to death with this one, but this is just what I look at every day. There's 7 different screens on the HMI that we have. Each screen is each component of the machine, but this is the main screen that I look at.
Jace, if you go back to that previous slide, this is a program that Jace has on a laptop and an iPad. He can access this from anywhere. He just told me it was called last night, 2 o'clock in the morning. He had an alarm that came up. It was a simple alarm, but this can be accessed from anywhere. Any of the landfill staff can access this from anywhere and make adjustments to the plant from a distance. So that's the reason why this is important. It kind of matches in with our whole leachate system and the way we see leachate and monitor leachate.
All right, just a few numbers that this machine can do. This is running 100% uptime, 24 hours a day. We can do between 56,000 gallons a day, averages about 388,000 gallons a week, and then a little over 1.6 million gallons a month. I threw together a little before and after the concentrator. So 4-month average before we started up, from June to September, we were a little over 1.2 million gallons that was being pumped to HRSD and pump and hauled to HRSD. We did the acceptance test on the concentrator October 1st. In October, we did pump through the force main 5 of those days due to downtime testing, and pump and hauled 156,000 gallons. On October 6th, HRSD gave us the go-ahead. We lock and tagged out the valve, the main discharge valve, to the force main to HRSD. And then in November, we still did pump and haul 330,594 gallons. We did not actually pump through the force main, and that was just due to some downtime, still some testing. About it. Any questions?
I think one of the points that's clear, if you could back up just to, is we can do 1.6 million gallons a month when we're operating at full capacity, and we are now. The last week we've been operating constantly at full capacity, and you can see the 4-month average here. Each month, June was 1.3 million, and the 4-month average was 1.2 million. So we have enough capacity in the concentrator to cover all the leachate that we're bringing in. So there should be, there will probably be a time or two when we're going to have to pull out the tanks and pump and haul, but for the most part, we'll be able to cover all of our leachate needs through the concentrator, which is a big risk that goes away. So any questions for Jace? Thank you, Jace.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have a quick update on the strategic communications, and Zach is going to do that, and Laren from HDR, excuse me, HRSD, HDR, all these acronyms. She's going to work with, they're going to kind of tag team this presentation.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Zach. I'm the Public Relations Manager for SPSA. My story with SPSA has evolved over the years. You may recognize me from working in the IT department, where I worked with an emphasis on information, putting the information in information technology. And slowly over time, I started to engage with the public more, and I now stand before you today as an external communicator for SPSA. And joining me today is Laren Brink from HDR. Laren and her team have been critical in helping us get a clear communications plan going for the alternative waste disposal project. Laren and her team went to work straight away, diving right into the trash with us, kind of learning about SPSA, who we are, what we do. And I think she and her team, they can't really look at trash the same way. Just like all of you throw something away, you think about it now. You can't forget it. So we can dive right into it. On November 3rd, you all made the decision to put into course a 20-year plan to revamp solid waste handling in the region. And we're just going to give you a little behind-the-scenes look at some of the communications things that have happened since then and a rough plan for 2026. So I'll turn it over to my partner, Laren.
Thank you, Zach, and thank you all so much for allowing us to, work on this with you, for you, and it's been, like you said, I definitely do not look at waste the same way, and everything I put in the trash, I think about this, I think about what you're able to do now in Hampton Roads as a resident of Chesterfield County. I hope we get something like this in the future. So, it's been a couple months since we last spoke with you, but it's been busy, and so the strategic communications approach that we've really taken to date. We first really wanted to focus on providing you the information that you needed to help in your conversations with your city councils, with your city managers, with your residents as this was going through the process of how SPSA envisioned AWD taking place in the region. And so that was really what we were looking at first. And now what we're talking about doing is how do we further engage residents and businesses now that this is locked, that fourth criteria, that box has been ticked, this is going. So continuing to make sure that residents and businesses and the public at large understand this. October, we were focused so much on developing the materials that explain the AWD process, putting those facts in place. You'll see, we developed some materials. We made updates to the SPSA website, and so that there was a singular place to access this information. Then in November, as Zach mentioned, that was the milestone accomplishment of this board, was that vote to authorize the contract with AMP. And so our focus was really, especially with earned media, putting together that press release, ensuring that we had media coverage here, ensuring that, this story really went out to the region as broad and wide as we could possibly do. And you'll see we had over 25 earned media articles that were a result. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. But we also continued to meet with key stakeholders. We were meeting with the communications team in Portsmouth. We continued to provide information to HRPDC and meet with HRPDC about how we can align and share in our communications goals. And then now in December, continuing, Dennis making the media rounds, continuing major interviews. Most recent, well, I won't talk about that part. So wait to come out, but so just some really great progress there with the media and with community meeting presentations. And now we're really looking to launch even more collateral. We've got an animated video that's just talking really about SPSA and the alternative waste disposal process that's going to take place. That'll be just a nice, short, easy, digestible piece of video content that we can continue to use to explain the process.
All right, looking at some numbers. So some of you all might look at some of these compared to some of your municipality pages. These might look like peanuts, some of these raw numbers here, but to us, this is change, this is improvement and growth, and we're stepping out from behind the curtain. Going forward, it's openness, it's friendliness, it's transparency, and Laren touched on that AWD webpage that we probably launched around maybe September, October time. That's SPSAVA.gov/AWD. You can get to it from that QR code as well. That's just going to be a central repository page for all things about the project. We're continuing to make updates to it. The most recent update we made was with the 16 targeted recyclables outlined in the contract, and then a family-friendly name for that material. So changing something from what might sound foreign, like HDPE colored number 2, and giving you a name like detergent bottle, which we can all better understand. And so, yeah, views are up 120%, active users 133, and engagement time's going up. And so if you have any questions from residents or anyone, just, you can point them to that page. It's easy to remember, and we're always gonna keep it up to date. Same thing with social media growth. Just our Facebook page has seen a lot of growth. And it's not like just one post went viral or whatever, but total views are up 34% just across the board. Every post is getting more engagement. And the views per post are up 70%. And we had fewer Facebook posts in the month of November compared to October, but each of those posts is just having a greater impact. And that's just because of the importance and excitement about this project. And some of the work that we're doing. And this is all organic so far. We haven't done an investment like a paid media plan or any sort of amplification, but we're just already starting to see some good growth numbers. The follower number today, I just checked it this morning, it was like 142. So, I mean, we're just steadily increasing, coming out from behind the curtain, and then that's just what we're, our approach going forward.
And if you aren't yet following, feel free to
Yes, thank you.
to follow along. Okay, so a little bit more about some of the successes. So since the beginning of the year of 2025, we tracked over 30 articles that have been published about SPSA and the alternative waste disposal. But as I mentioned, over 25 were really the result of the press release about the SPSA board, you approving the AWD contract or the intent to award. And I think this is really important because you'll see here where we have a note about press coverage, reach, readership, and viewership. All of these entities, I know you recognize, I'm sure you go there for your local news. These are the main sources of traditional news coverage for the region. And all of them were covering your story, and they were covering it. It was the lead story in the WHRO newsletter that goes out and it has a very high open rate. These stories were on the front pages, the digital pages. These were getting continuously shared through social media as well. So, we can't specifically track like how many impressions there were because we didn't own that thing, but we can assume that this kind of reach is monumental, and it really is a testament of how interested not just the media is, but how interested residents are, and that they will probably continue to be interested in this story as we continue to share the important work that you're doing, that SPSA is doing. And the stories all tended to be neutral or neutral positive sentiment, which is great. But the one caveat, of course, moving into this is we did also look at the social media coverage of the news articles. So this was, Wavy 10 posting the story on their Facebook. Let's see what the comment section looks like. Anybody who's on social media knows that the comment section can sometimes be a pretty rough place. But, there were some positive comments, there were some neutral comments, there were a lot of questions. But as expected, there were some negative comments that were really centered around a lot of misinformation and distrust, not even specific to SPSA. I mean, it's just like a thematic concept of not trusting processes, not trusting, recycling, not trusting that this is going to work, just a lot of skepticism. But I will say the one good thing is that, collectively, we anticipated these kinds of questions and these kinds of concerns. And so we had worked really hard in the months prior to develop the facts around these so that we can proactively speak to these. And so we have been sharing that information and will continue to share that information and can really, continue to use this sort of feedback when it's available to help us gauge where people might still be having some questions and where we can help create messages and create communications that support what the truth is on this.
And the last slide, just looking ahead to 2026, Those first 3 bullets are really about the same thing. Laren's touched on this, how we are in communications with Portsmouth right now, working with them to develop materials to get the right information out to their residents and the changes in happening with this transition. And your community will be next. I think Chesapeake, Suffolk, probably around the corner in 2026. So if you or you know someone who on your team who would make a good fit for collaborating on that, please let us know, put us in contact. I'll have my email at the end here that you can jot down and just pass along to anyone, because we think it's important to meet residents where they are. Each community is going to be a little different, even though all the waste is handled in the same way. So we want to be able to support you all through that transition. Developing a dashboard, we want to do this probably around early 2026 and just showcasing the waste data that's happening. Again, this will probably be on that SPSAVA.gov/AWD page, and just breaking down what's coming in, what's going out, what's going into the landfill, what's being recovered as a recyclable, as an organic, breaking it down into all those 16 targeted materials and sharing that on a monthly basis, we think will be really interesting for residents or anyone to take a look at. I don't really think that's happening on any level, especially with recycling. So we're happy to do it and showcase it. In addition, capturing pictures, videos of the upgraded facility as the belts are starting to get up and running again here. We're going to get in there and show off the facility as it begins to ramp up here by the midpoint of 2026. We're hoping Frederick will be fully online. In January, we're going to be speaking just like this at a couple regional meetings. And I'm sure you've heard Dennis say this many times. I'll say it too. We'll meet anyone, anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's one person or a group of people. If you know someone who you think would benefit from learning about AWD or SPSA, put us in contact, get us in touch. We'll talk to anyone, anywhere. And finally, February, March, we're hoping to open up the doors to the Frederick facility, starting out with doing some guided tours, because it's new equipment, new technology, and we just want to get people in there, because seeing is believing sometimes. So try to respect your time, but if you have any questions, there's my email there. You can pass that off to anyone. Be happy to answer.
Zach, I wanted to add just 2 things to what you all have already put out. One is that we've gotten some pretty significant national and international coverage too. Around the 15th of this month, the Wall Street Journal will be doing an article that I sat for yesterday for about almost an hour, nearly, interviewing with them for this article. They're really excited, and it was very positive. Their environmental reporter was really excited. He'll be here. I was going to visit the site to take some pictures for this article. So I don't know how much spread it's going to be in the journal, but it's going to be a significant article. And then I got a call late yesterday afternoon. There's an article, an international article that's being done on the Reuters loop, and Laren knows more about how that works than I do, but there's an international article that they called me yesterday afternoon late, and I ended up staying late last night so I could talk to the reporter on that as well. So that will be going out on an international standpoint, not just a national standpoint. So the message about what we're doing is getting out there. I think that Laren and her team has done a great job of directing, and Zach is doing an excellent job on our side to make sure that we're doing all the things that we need to do to position ourselves. And I think where we are right now is that we've got a lot of skepticism, and we see that about recycling. That's the history of recycling has created the skepticism about what we're doing. And I think what we have to do now is we have to get out in front of that and make sure citizens know exactly what to expect before we actually start doing what we do. So that's kind of our goal moving forward, is to prepare the citizenry for what's coming, because it's very different and nobody else is doing it. So thank you both for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right. The next item on the agenda was Cell 7 construction. Ryan Central is really moving along. They're one of the best companies we've ever dealt with. I'm very pleased with them. Approximately 55 acres of the timber that we needed cleared has been cleared for cells 8 and 9 in order to stockpile soil that they're pulling out of cell 7. And the remaining 55 acres or so will be cleared after the time of year restrictions are lifted next spring in 2026. This will not affect Cell 7. Norman has worked closely with the logger to make sure we have enough area cut out, and working with Central to make sure that, for Ryan Central, to make sure that we have enough room for them to put the dirt. So we don't see any issues with that time of year restriction now. Here is just a kind of a overview or overhead view of the work being done. Jace is also a drone pilot now, and he flew this yesterday. You can see the snow to get a picture so you can see Cell 7, all the trees cleared. In the top left corner, there's a snowy section where it looks like a bunch of trees have been cut down. That's the acreage where the soil is going to be stockpiled, and you can start to see the shape of the landfill coming into place to the center of the screen where Cell 7 is located. Municipal tons for the month were down a little bit, but still above target of 37,500 tons. Commercial tons dropped dramatically, well below the 24,680 budget target. It was at 20,951 tons. And here I wanted to make sure that you understood that we believe that was just an anomaly. Number one, RDS was closed because they were upgrading the facility over there in preparation for the alternative waste disposal contract. So that was 3,000 tons that we typically were getting from RDS that we didn't get last month. Waste management tons were down 1,100 tons. That's due in part because of our tonnage that went to, we do swap tons with them, and that reflects the fact that our tonnage that we sent to them was lower. And then GFL, and I don't know really the reason why they were down 1,400 tons, but they were down 1,400 tons for a total of 5,500 tons. We'll keep a close eye out on this because remember, the commercial waste is important. We don't make a lot of money off of it, but we do make a little, and we want to make sure we continue to have those tons coming in. Portsmouth Transfer Station. I want to talk to you a few minutes about that. The facility is located on a 22-acre site. The building that's located on there that's going to house our tip floor for Portsmouth and the processing facility that AMP is going to put in is 167,000 square feet. The facility was built in the early 1980s, and it's been retrofitted a number of times, been piping cut out, electrical's been moved and redistributed. So there are a lot of things that have happened over time in that building. The building systems are very large, and they require special understanding. And we believe that a facility manager is necessary. So we're requesting that you approve a facility manager as an addition in the to our complement of positions. And I've talked at depth about this with the executive committee and why we need it. So I'm going to request that staff is requesting that you adopt a motion authorizing the executive director to increase the current complement of authorized positions by 1 for the purpose of hiring a facility manager to manage the Portsmouth Transfer Station and Material Recovery Facility. This is a grade 10 manager position. Salary range is $76,000 to $114,000, and I would ask for a motion to approve that.
Is there any discussion on the request? If not, I would move that the board approve a resolution authorizing the executive director to increase the current complement of authorized positions by 1 for the purpose of hiring a facility manager to manage the Portsmouth Transfer Station and the Material Recovery Facility. It would be a grade 10 with a salary range from $76,000 to $114,000 per year. I made the motion. Have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ms. Ralston?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion carried.
All right, and the last item we have today is a contract award. We have Regional Landfill Heavy Equipment Shop needs a bridge crane installed. The bridge crane was originally designed into the construction of the building once after the fire, but due to budget issues and the cost of the original building, we removed the crane from being installed at that point. But we did do the prep work, and what we said was we would come back at a later date and put that in the capital budget. But we needed some of the prep work done, like concrete footings that needed to be in place and some of the steel that needed to be sized correctly for the bridge crane. We went ahead and did that as part of the building construction, and we reserved the right to come back and install the crane at a later date. $200,000 was included in the FY26 capital budget for the purchase and installation of the crane. An RFP was issued for the bridge crane in October the 1st of 2025, and we received 3 proposals to do the work. The proposals were Mazzella Lifting Technologies, Inc., or J. Henry Holland is who some of you may know them as. Their price was $160,719. Port Rail Crane Services price was $164,000, and Crane Tech Solutions, or CTS is what you may know them as, they came in at $186,000. The review committee that reviewed the RFP determined that all 3 of the responders were well qualified and responsive. The review committee elected to negotiate best and final offers with all 3 vendors. They did that, and the lowest best and final offer that came from Mazzella Lifting Technologies included engineering work that was needed in the bid. The others did not do that. So the selection committee selected the low bidder, which was Mazzella Lifting Technologies, as the preferred bidder. And staff recommends the adoption of a motion to award RFP 04-25 to Mazzella Lifting Technology, Inc. in the amount of $160,719.68 for the purchase and installation of a 10-ton bridge crane at the Regional Landfill Heavy Equipment Shop, and is funded under the capital budget.
Are there any questions for the executive director? If not, I would ask for a motion and a second to authorize the executive director to award a contract to Mazzella Lifting Technologies Incorporated for the purchase of a 10-ton bridge crane as presented. A motion and a second from Dr. Ball. Is there any additional discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any?
Aye.
And Ms. Ralston says aye. Any in opposition? Any abstentions? All right, thank you. Motion carried. You done?
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our business for today.
All right, so finally, I have a quarterly financial report. It's written only, but that makes everybody happy. It's on page 65 of the agenda packet. Is there any other business to bring in front of the board? Yes, Mr. McCoy.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank the entire board, working with them over the last 11 years. I'd like to thank the friendships and the camaraderie that we have developed. This is certainly a different board than what we used to have, and it's really a privilege to, as you said earlier, that was what John Cosgrove aimed, was to get rid of me, but that's, I'm retiring
And you
at the
knew I
right
was kidding,
time.
right? That was just a joke.
I understand, but I'm retiring at the right time, and it's been a wonderful experience serving on the SPSA board, and in life, everything comes to an end, and this is my final meeting, and I just wish everybody Merry Christmas
Godspeed, and I love all of you.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Mr. Kiefer.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, so.
Merry Christmas too.
So the last, the AWD contract was effective December 1. By January 29th, if they meet their obligations, and we have an executive director who's going to ensure that happens, they will be processing 150,000 tons per year at the Frederick facility. That is 1/3 of our municipal waste. And if they are recovering the 20% that they're supposed to be recovering, that would be 6.6% of our municipal waste that is being recycled. That equals what's the Blue Can's doing, and that's the Blue Can's only doing that for 4 of the cities in Hampton Roads. So, and that's just 1/3 of our progress at that point. So that's, you can think about that as you talk to your friends about us at Christmas time. Hope everybody has a great Christmas.
Mr. Chairman, I have one other thing I was going to mention earlier. Kevin Pavich from Commonwealth Sortation and Robotics. Kevin, can you stand up? Kevin is he's the operations director, I believe is his title. He actually works out of Cleveland now, but he'll be relocating to Virginia. He will be at all of our board meetings moving forward. So from time to time, he'll be updating you as well. I just wanted to introduce him and let you know who was here from AMP Robotics today.
So I hope everybody, you and yours, has a fantastic Christmas and holiday season, and I hope 2026 is prosperous and healthy and good to all of you and yours. Meeting dismissed. Listen, you come back and you're